Greetings from above. I have eagerly anticipated this get-together, hoping to see all of you. At my 80th birthday, I promise you that, if I eventually reached heaven, my spiritual baggage would only contain happy memories. Baruch Hashem, it happened. I also promised that Abba and I would come, if I could convince him, to be present at all your simchas. Hence, we almost froze to death at Nathanael and Tamar's wedding. We're excited and moved to tears at Yuval Yehuda ben Sasson's bris. Witness Naama Adler's beautiful bas mitzvah. Abba was amazed by the drasha and certainly flattered. We were in the waiting room when Matar Yonat was born to Leo and Shlomit, when Kerem Sarah was born to Avichai and Achinoam, when little Yehudit was born to Rachel, Tzchia, and Yehuda on Abba's yortzeit, and when Rachel finally joined Yaakov and family. I never imagined I would care, but I deeply appreciate being named after in any way or form. Nevertheless, everyone should do as they see fit. I tried not to let anybody interfere with my choices, and I stick to my principles. Baruch Hashem, I am happy. Life after death is interesting and extremely fulfilling. Abba and I spend our days with Yonatan, taking care of one another. Yonatan is a great help and is wonderful company. I think he feels comfortable and secure with us. I apologize for departing without a formal goodbye. I was never fond of farewell parties. I try to make sure my time of departure was a convenient time for most of you. Chaim was in town. It was before midterms for my college grandchildren. Hanukkah was right around the corner. I do not think I cost you much extra time. Only poor Shraga had to cancel his flight, but thanks to some string pulling, I managed to make sure he was fully reimbursed. The deal I made here in heaven was that I can appear for a few minutes, but on condition that I do not disclose any information regarding the conditions, who made it all the way here, and what really happens upon departing Olam Hazeh. I will only say that I am in Gan Eden Mikedem, which surely surpasses the last 3.5 years of my life.
Secondly, according to Chazal, a person reaches Seder. It means ripe old age. What really is ripe old age? Ripe old age is not old age, for example, if the banana is just ripe, it tastes good. But if it is too ripe, it goes into a cake and the infant or the trash can. Ripe old age means you have reached the peak of your productive life. For many of us, the ensuing years become too ripe with old age. The ensuing years become fraught with physical and mental capacity change. Privilege of ripe old age where children begin to be concerned about your health, especially making sure that you don't overeat. You can still be asked for advice. You can still give of yourself. You can still live an independent life. You can still study, still teach. You have to consult your notes more frequently, but your experience and wisdom can allow for nuggets of wisdom to be parceled out.
I thank Hashem for granting me many years of seva. And yet life is so unpredictable. Who would have thought that one short outing for lunch with a friend would turn into the horrible and never-ending end of my life? I could no longer chew the overly ripe banana I had become. In general, you were all pretty amazed at my chachmas. I know you kids knew how utterly miserable I was. However, I am not sure you realize how utterly bored I was. All my pearls of wisdom were the way I entertained myself. They were also an opportunity to stop censuring myself. I kept my mouth shut for 89 years. Now I had an excuse, and I allowed it all to come out. No doubt I left you enough material to put out Mipis Kenim, a book of my own chachmas. Here are some examples I recall that are not too disgusting to repeat. I remember looking at myself in the mirror and saying, most people have bags under their eyes while I have suitcases. On another occasion, I shared a dream I had of being hospitalized. One of you kids was fresh enough to challenge me and asked if I was sure it was a dream. I would not allow a kid to get away with this and retorted, "Yeah, the doctor was a Ephraim and it was all a nightmare." I know that some of the time I was not all there, yet I sometimes felt that you decided too quickly where I was. I once had to put Avram in his place and told him outright that, "You think I am stupid, but you must realize that a smart woman like myself does not become dumb so quickly." I celebrated my 90th birthday alone. Abba was no longer with us. It was an intimate affair. My 6 children came alone, and this gave us an opportunity to be together. It also gave me the opportunity to continue with my mouth going wild.
What's the wish, Ma? Oh, I don't want to do good things, Ma. What's the wish? What's the wish?
I don't know. It's not like a smile on his face.
I also know. I know what you want. Does it have to do with the north of this country?
I'm junkie right there. I'm junkie right there.
So, what's the wish? What's the wish?
You could say we're your children. That's why we wanted to be alone with you.
That's why I didn't want to be alone.
Don't lie. Don't lie. Don't lie.
No, Mommy, what's the wish?
I'm full of admiration and gratitude for the way you all took care of me. At my levaya, each and every one of you were right by saying that the only good thing that came out of this ordeal was that it brought out the best in the 6 of you, and that it glued my 6 very different children puzzled together, hopefully eternally. I am overwhelmed with hakarat hatov to all of you for being so kind, caring, and tender with me. Enough of this solemn nostalgia. Collect yourselves. I want to start my memoirs from the very beginning. I was the symbol of my family being reunited in the United States of America. My father had left Hungary and officiated as a rabbi in Poughkeepsie, New York, for about 2 years. Once he received a stelle in McKeesport, he returned to Europe and escorted my mother and 7 siblings to the States. I was born in McKeesport. My name was a wish and a prophecy. It not only meant that I was of the Jewish denomination, but so much more, as I was the first-born American child. My father wanted my name to make a statement.
You don't know? Of course you know. He was the first child born in America, and it was a declaration of faith in
McKeesport was an ugly, poor town. Most of its population worked in the steel mills. The Jews were entrepreneurs, but in terms of their Yiddishkeit, they did not initiate much. It seemed most of them simply did not care. I was even quoted in the book, put out in memory of Rebbitzin Kaplan, concerning this issue. Imagine the chutzpah, my words were put into a footnote. My father was so hurt by their attitude towards him that in his tzava'ah he asked to be buried far away in New York. I went to McKeesport Public School, and as you can see, I scored straight hundreds in poetry. I never arrived to school late and even managed quite well in mathematics. I was part of the Alte Babele story. 11 kids hiding from imaginary wolves, pouring out of clocks, having fun, and trying to stick together for better and for worse. I was considered the oldest of the youngest. I shared my bed with Hannah at nights and spent my days playing with Millie, Yankee, and Javi. The four of us were each 1 year apart. I loved my family dearly, and my family loved me back. No matter where I lived, they lived with me in my heart. I lived in McKeesport till I was 7. Once my father had died, there was little point staying there, especially when my mother knew that the Jewish education was much more developed and better in New York. We moved to Williamsburg, which was the heart of ultra-Orthodox Jewry in those days. I went to public school during the day and to Young Israel of Williamsburg in the afternoons. High school was public as well, but the afternoons were spent in Beis Yaakov. We were 8 girls who were the first class of the now famous Beth Jacob Teacher Seminary, a group of American girls who classified all foreigners as refugees, and therefore with a small amount of snobbery and a great deal of chutzpah, looked down upon Rebbetzin Kaplan, then a young woman who came to America with a burning torch. But this torch that Rebbetzin Kaplan had burning within her, the torch of Torah and Yiras Shamayim, she somehow managed to kiss each girl. With this kiss of Torah that she bestowed for the first time in the history of the United States, there were 8 American girls who became a devoted, a pious, and an educated Jewish woman. It was during those formulating years that I was to undergo another very powerful experience. I met your father.
Our young years were spent in expressing ideas, formulating new ones, examining religious beliefs, discussing our families, our hopes for the future of the world. Unwittingly, we were revealing our true natures to each other and educating one another. There was never a word of intimacy. We were wonderful friends. There came a day after 5 years, however, that Abba no longer wanted just a friendship. The platonic days were over. This he revealed to me on the Holy of Holies, the Williamsburg Bridge. Now began our troubles. Our courtship was fraught with problems. Our friendship had been great, but marriage on my part to a seminary student caused me tremendous stress. I gave him 6 weeks to leave the seminary, but after the 6 weeks were over, he said he never realized that I meant it seriously. He would never give up his studies in the middle. We compromised. He promised he would start learning seriously after graduation, not because I asked him to, but because he really wanted to do so. But things were not good. We were unhappy, constantly arguing. Finally, Abba decided that we could not overcome our differences. There would be too much friction were we to get married. We decided to stop seeing one another. We parted ways, but we still felt each other. I had been teaching 3rd grade Chumash. Abba had always wanted me to teach Ivris Be'Ivris, or what they called it in those days. And before we actually parted, he gave me a month's supply of material. I would always have to call him when the supply was depleted. After all, he was still there to help me. During the breakup, I had time to think. I had never met anyone whose character matched that of your father. I appreciated his softness with people and his tolerance of their faults. He enjoyed my critical acumen and my sharp tongue. My mother had gotten to know him well. She saw how unhappy I was now that we had broken up. He's not a person I would give up, she confided. I understood that she would not oppose our marriage. It took greatness of character and much bravery to give me that blessing. I had always revered her for her encouragement. To this day, I do not recall how we got together again, but I am sure it was due to my initiative. Our relationship was restored. We announced our engagement. In my immediate circle, there was much surprise. All they saw was a young man with no exceptional abilities. It faced Yaakov's shock. Judy not marrying a motherfucker. Even after the engagement, the arguments and bickerings continued. Abba felt unrespected. His family worried that marriage so early would disturb his future studies. His father felt that religious Jews looked down on those who aren't. But my fear of another breakup was as great as his, for we realized that what we shared was too precious and too strong to relinquish. I felt like a tragic heroine in a Victorian novel. We were a couple who gambled on a happy life together. Behold, despite all the forebodings, we hit the jackpot.
אהבת עולם תביא להם, תביא להם. 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 אהבת עולם תביא להם, אהבת עולם תביא להם, אהבת עולם תביא להם, אהבת עולם תביא להם. וברית אבות לבנים תזכור, וברית אבות לבנים תזכור. אהבת עולם תביא להם, אהבת עולם תביא להם, אהבת עולם תביא להם, אהבת עולם תביא להם.
Nine months after our marriage, we were parents. It took us a full 16 years to build our whole shevet. At our 80th birthday, celebrated in Beit Tovei Ha'ir, I took the opportunity to tell you how much you children mean to me. We wanted many children, but health reasons only allowed us a comfortable 6. We wanted very much to establish a Jewish home, a portable Torah home, which would travel through the generations, and it has. In our personal book of prayer and hope, we ask for healthy, bright, exciting children of good character. God looked down on us and has answered our prayers. One of our most fervent tasks was to spin a fabric that would encourage family unity. We also encourage you to be individuals, to think independently. We stopped that after a while. Not only to respect your parents, but also to respect each other as well. Much of what I am saying is undoubtedly part and parcel of many a family, and every family has its own uniqueness. But I'm talking about my own family, and here I was blessed with 20/20 vision. I am not boasting if I say that our family is indeed unique. Since you are unique, you differ one from another in interests and ideology. Our symphony was made up of 6 movements, but we added a seventh movement called harmony. That 7th movement, despite some dissonant tones, should always be uppermost in your minds. I look around this room. Our cup is so full. I think of my parents and of Abba's parents. They would be in awe were they to view what has transpired from a marriage of 2 youngsters, totally incompatible, who are now Siamese twins. All of our children have been blessed with the most worthy of partners. We love and respect our sons and daughters-in-law. We consider them our own children. Abba and I set very high standards. We invested a lot of thought and effort in bringing you up at home and made a tremendous effort in establishing the surroundings we wanted you to grow up in. Thus, I became head of the PTA and very active in Torah Masorah. I felt I was continuing what my father had begun in McKeesport and what my teachers taught me in seminary. Kol Amar Hashem Kol Barama Nishma Nehi Bechi Tamrurim. Jewish mother cries she has lost her children. No longer do they abide by the tenets of their fathers. The schools have closed, the Beis Midrash is empty, the son and daughter know not their parents. She weeps, she screams. God says to Rachel, to the Jewish mother, the Jewish girl, the Jewish teacher, don't cry, wipe your tears away. You're weeping and your tears are useless. Yesh sachar lepu'ulatech. There is work to do, great work to be done by the Jewish mother, by the Jewish teacher, and then with this pu'ulah there will be hope for our children, for Yiddishkeit, and then our children and the sons of Israel will return to their home. Working with the PTA meant making sure there were day schools every place there were Jewish children. Meant writing a monthly journal for all PTAs nationwide, giving them ideas to work with. For me, it's always somewhere in the dark of the night when the baby wakes me up, and getting back to sleep is not so easy, that I spend my time reflecting on different problems. Some of the best program ideas have come to me between a diaper change and the heating of a bottle. The fact that I was meeting a lot of interesting people and mingling with the most influential people of Orthodox Jewry boosted my ego, but that was not enough to get me out of the house. I really believed, and I still do, that I was saving Klal Yisrael. And then life took a turn. Chronologically, my story begins when we got off the plane, but religiously, it begins with a little incident that took place at the Kotel when we visited it for the first time. I did not experience the great spiritual uplift that I had been reading about and hearing about from so many of my friends. When I joined Abba and the boys, I said to him very dejectedly, "Do you see, or did you feel any Kedusha in this place? Abba replied, Judy, the Kedusha you derive from seeing the Kotel is the direct result of the Kedusha you bring with you. This retort certainly had me speechless. The simple and short remark has been the keystone to my adjustment to Israel. Because, to be honest, whenever I had sung L'Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim, I knew that I meant it, but with a reservation. Please God, as a tourist. The Shabbos before we left, we, both parents and children, had decided to restrict our table exclusively to ourselves. For this Shabbos, no guests at the meals. The words, V'shavu banim l'gvulam, were sung with much fervor and reverence. The Divrei Torah at the table were simple and serene. It is not often that a family as a unit can have such an exhilarating experience. This was a family simcha that was surrounded with a birth, a pidyon ben, tnoim, bar mitzvah, kiddushim, all rolled into one. Till that Shabbat I had been going along much too involved in planning and packing to realize the significance of what was happening to us. I had been going along mentally, a bystander. Even when my family was singing with such joy and was experiencing such inspiration, I was still at the bottom of the mountain. At first, it all seemed to be like one big glorified bungalow colony. Little by little, I found I was beginning to fall in love. Since we are here, I realized that coming to Israel to settle was simply the answer my husband's conscience demanded. He was sick of dress rehearsals. He wanted to live and wants us all to live authentically as full Jews. So I started off at the bottom of the mountain. Since then I've managed, thank the Lord, to climb a few feet. I've still not reached the top and probably never will, but I will never again be at the bottom either. Abba and I made a conscious decision that I stay home with the children. This was part of the high standard we set for ourselves. No strange person would be as dedicated to all of you more than me. No strange person would install the morals and Jewish values we wanted to bring you up with. I do not regret not having an early career, but once Nechama entered the second grade, I felt free to pursue a job and a career destination. Again, it was all about Judaism, Torah and mitzvahs. It was not Ephraim's cup of Yiddishkeit, but it was my way of being an influence in the direction I set for myself from very early on, Judaism. I was an active participant in the conversion process in Israel for 25 years. In the years that I was teaching and testing students all over the country, I worked hard. I had to restudy material I was sure I was proficient in. I had to strengthen my emunah and hashkafa because I felt I had a tremendous responsibility on my shoulders. I remember trembling when I wrote my final recommendation to the Beit Din. I felt I was participating in a Jewish birth. I believed that the rabbi who was to grant the conversion upon my recommendation was allowing a new soul to enter our nation. We all shared great hope that this new soul would be joined to the souls of our people who were present at Har Sinai. I loved to teach, so I loved my job. It was very rewarding. I loved going through letters students wrote to me. It gives me the feeling that my life was meaningful and that I touched people in various ways. So upon deliberating with the Malach, responsible here for issues of Gaiva, I will share with you only 2 or 3 short letters I have out of many, many more. To dear Mrs. K, this card gives me the opportunity to thank you for not only giving me the basis of knowledge necessary in order to be Jewish, but also the feeling of what it means to be a participating Jew. Another student wrote, I have just experienced my first Shabbat as a Jewess, and I would like to thank you for all you did to make this possible. The last one for this evening is a student who thanks me for giving her a totally different meaning for the concept, my life. I was never oblivious to the halachic problems that came along with my work. All I can say is that I never came across a student who was sorry to have become acquainted with authentic Judaism. I stopped working once I reached the age of retirement. Despite being disappointed that it would no longer be teaching, this newly free time did have its benefits. My career as a grandmother started at a very early age. I was still busy bringing up my own kids. Stopping to work gave me a chance to devote more time to the second generation and then to the third. I loved being a savta. I cherished every minute, enjoyed every chachma. I tackled a lot with the question, what is the role of the grandmother in the life of the child? What does she have to offer? There's a sampler on the wall of our kitchen which says, if mother says no, ask grandmother. Grandmothers are a very special species. In the eyes of the children, they are the best cooks. They are the best bakers. Grandmothers tell the best stories. They always have time to listen to you. They have broad shoulders upon which you can lean. Grandmothers hardly ever scold or criticize. They have large pockets, full of surprises. Sometimes their words of wisdom can permeate the soul. Grandmothers are a repository of many a secret. A most important attribute of grandmothers is the fact that they are history books. They contain treasures of anecdotes, legends, mysteries, happenings, a who's who of genealogies, and lots of pictures to match. As the grandchildren grow older, special bonds develop. The Friday afternoon telephone calls overwhelm her with joy. The generations become like one. The child, the parents, and the grandparents are enveloped under one cover, and when that cover is a parochas, can one experience a greater feeling of elation? Ab and I would never miss an opportunity to make the kids laugh. We loved giving them a good time.
מי שלא יודע, סבתא ג'ודי היא סבתא מאוד מאוד רגועה, אף פעם לא עצבנית, לא לחוצה בכלל, היא אוהבת לעשות כל מיני תסרוקות וגם לעשות דברים. ויש לנו את סבא שהוא הכי בעולם, וסבא, יש להם לסבא וסבתא מלא נכדים. כמה נכדים יש לכם? מי יודע? מלא. סבתא, את רואה מפחד אדומה? בואו נשים את המפחד בחזק, יד. סבתא, איזה צבע זה? אדום, נכון? תגידי חזק אדום. זה צהוב. תגיד, תוציא לי לשנייה. זה של חכם חנוכה בן משה הלוי. תגיד את המשפט. סבא, תגיד את המשפט. ארץ זבת. חלב ודבש. ארץ זבת. מה הברכה? ארץ זבת. חלב.
המוציא קול מן הרמקול.
תגיד סבא, היית מתחתן ככה עם סבתא לפני 80 שנה?
אני לא שומע מילה. אני שומע.
I am looking at the clock. I feel like Cinderella. I have overextended my visit. So before I say my goodbye, I want to share with you one of my childhood memories. I remember as a young child, I heard singing in a shul that was next door to us. It was an ordinary evening. It was not a Yom Tov, and I could not imagine what the festivities were for. I asked my mother, and she told me that tonight was the Rebbe's father's yortzeit. So why are they singing, I asked. Is it proper to sing when somebody has died? My mother told me it was a custom of the Hasidim to sing because they were happy that the Rebbe's father had reached heaven. How beautiful this custom is. How beautiful it is if on a yortzeit we can be happy in our sadness. Such happiness can come only when the departed one was great, was kind, was good, because then he has not really died. He has left his mitzvot with us. He has left his teachings with us. He has not taken anything in his tachrichim. I hope you find happiness in this sadness. I hope you all stay healthy and happy. There is a known saying attributed to Reb Zosher Me'anapoli. When one reaches the Shemayim, he's not asked whether he was Moshe Rabbeinu. He asked whether he was himself. I am no Rebbe's father. I am not great. I tried to be good, and I tried to be kind. All I can say is that I tried to be the best Judy Kirshenbaum I could.